Hello everyone and welcome back. In this week's video, I'm just gonna do things a little differently. We are going to do a little Q&A. I put a questionnaire thing out on my Instagram as well as my YouTube post thing here. And I got some questions from you guys that I'm excited to answer for you, and hopefully it'll help you with some insight or give you the information you're looking for. Say hi, Hobbs. He was dead set on being in here today, so hope you don't mind him hanging around. Oh my gosh, his hair is flying everywhere. This might be a problem. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump in here. First question is, how can I find my shooting style? And then a related question was, how do I keep my portfolio consistent? I change my look monthly. It sort of just came with experimentation, and I think consistency and having a style to me are kind of funny to think about, because I look at my own work and think that it looks totally sporadic and all over the place. And I think the key really is just to not be copying or not be trying to make certain kinds of photos, and just truly following your instincts on what is interesting to you. And it's really way less about like gear or overthinking some like composition technique or something, and following your heart and your vision for what you're drawn to in whatever environment. And that will naturally lend itself to you capturing and processing things in a way that is a true representation of why you liked the scene and what you liked about it. And I think that can translate across and sort of bring a consistency to your work. Next question is, how do you learn composition and editing, and what advice can you give a beginner? Composition, I think I probably owe most of that to cinema. I've always been kind of a nerd for like Tarantino movies and Nolan movies, and just like I have a handful of directors that I really enjoy their work. And for me, photography came as an interest after studying and being involved with video for a few years. So I kind of went to like reverse order that a lot of people go, where like they start out in photography and then it leads to them dabbling in video and kind of going it from there. I was the total opposite. So I think I have that to thank for a lot of like my style or my approach to composition. And really the way to learn it is just by doing and observing and doing that over and over and over again. It's a super healthy habit, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need to look at something and try to recreate it, but just absorbing all of these forms of art and whatever inspires you and makes you want to get out and use your camera, absorb all of that all the time, and then just be a sponge and just sort of like subliminally start including elements of that into your own take on it. As far as editing goes, I feel like the biggest challenge a lot of people have, including myself, like if I look back at my early work, I despise a lot of it, and it was because I was chasing a style that worked for someone else, or chasing a style that got a lot of likes or a lot of engagement or made someone popular or whatever. And really, I think your editing will come naturally to you if you ignore all of that and you look at what drew you to the scene, why you took the photo. Was it a certain color? Was it the light? Was it, just the moment itself, the subject matter? Like, what can you do in the edit to help enhance or help shed light on why you took the photo to begin with, and do it in your own way. And you can't go wrong following your own instincts. Where you can go wrong is when you try to mimic someone else's look or mimic something that's working for someone else. Next question was, do you use any power curves or LUTs for your color grading? There's a few other questions on here, like what's your color grading process, please? Will you make a video about your color grade on your footage? Would you do a tutorial of your editing and color grading process? Love your videos. Thank you to all you guys. I appreciate that. I kind of touched on this earlier, but my background is in video first, and I've always taken a lot of interest in color and to get this different emotion out of scenes or create a different atmosphere in a scene. And I plan on covering color grading a little bit more in depth and kind of giving you like some technical aspects of what I do. To be honest, just like with everything else, I'm very inconsistent in my approach, and it makes it hard to do a video on it when I'm really just following my instincts and my vision for what that scene should feel like, in my opinion, and I just kind of follow that. And so the process isn't as straightforward as like I put a LUT on or I drop a power grade on and it's done. And maybe just knowing the tools a little better, which is something I can talk about, will help you achieve what's in your mind and get it out onto the screen. X100V shooting specs. This one's super easy for me. The X100V, I just shoot in RAW. I don't do anything crazy. I don't use a bunch of film simulations or whatnot. I just shoot it in RAW. All the ISO and shutter and aperture settings are relative to what I'm shooting and what I think the scene calls for and what the light is doing. And other than that, that's it. My X-T5 is extremely sharp. How can I reduce sharpness and make it look cinematic? A few things you could try. You could do a setup where you adapt a vintage lens. I did a video about adapting my Nikon lenses to different cameras. They're also cheaper, which is a plus. You could try filtration, like using black pro mist or a glimmer glass or something like that. If you really wanted to, you could shoot in a lower resolution. Or finally, in post, you could do things like add a little bit of blur. Sorry, I'm gonna drop my phone. Add a little bit of blur, or maybe even add some grain to the image. That really helps soften it up a little bit. Turn the size up on the grain a little bit. That'll make it blurrier, things like that. So there's a few little things you could try. How do you get such amazing colors in your photos? Straight out of camera or Lightroom edits? How do you edit photos? I don't follow like a straightforward process. I pretty much start from scratch with each image and just work towards what I want it to be. And I'm a big believer in that being the best approach. I know it's not the most popular. I know people are gonna debate that, but that's how I feel and that's what works for me. And I truly believe you'll find your own style and be happier with your work long term if you treat each photo with the respect and attention that it deserves. What is your favorite location to take photos and favorite photo location in Northern California? I haven't done a ton of Northern California. I can't remember. I went to Pfeiffer Beach once. There's like purple sand and these beautiful rocks, and I don't know how far north that was, so that might not count for that one. But I did go to the Redwoods a few times, the Jedediah Smith Redwoods area, and it is absolutely stunning up there. So that would be a worthy mention for Northern California. As far as my favorite photo place in general, depends on like what I'm feeling at the time, but I think it's pretty obvious at this point, based on my track record of videos here, that the Oregon coast is absolutely my favorite place on earth. I just feel really inspired and refreshed every time I visit, so that would take the cake for me. How to go from spec work to getting hired by good clients? Man, that's a tough one. Everyone's path's a little different, but I will say the most important thing is to just continue doing work that you believe in. Do work that's relevant to the industries that you want to be in. So stop doing, work for your friends or shooting music videos or whatever. If that's not what you want to get into, just stop doing that and focus on the channel that you do want to be in long term. So like if that's commercial or corporate work, pursue that. That's the first step. The other step is just getting to know folks. Like get yourself out there, try some things, meet new people in the industry. Not necessarily like other photographers and videographers and stuff, but just like get involved in your community and find small businesses you think are cool. Maybe do some jobs for them. Get out there and meet people, and word of mouth is honestly way far and above the absolute main driver for me and our business. So yeah, just get out there, meet people, do good work, be kind, and put your best foot forward. If I was sponsored by Squarespace like everyone else is, that would have been a perfect time to do like a little ad insert, but your boy ain't there yet. X100V in 2023 or another camera for your daily driver? I think it's still gonna be the X100V. I mean, we're halfway through the year. I feel pretty good about using that camera. I still love it so much. It does everything I need. I think between that and my Nikon film camera and my Mamiya 645 and the Sony for video, the A7S III, I'm good, dude. I feel I'm not the kind of person who really like needs new gear a lot. I've kind of been rocking that setup for a hot minute, minus the Mamiya, that's a newer edition. But yeah, I don't need much. I'm pretty simple these days when it comes to my kit, and I think I'm happier because of it. Do you storyboard videos? And also related to storytelling, does your story develop before, during, or after you shoot, or all of the above? I only storyboard videos for client work, but for YouTube, I tend to just like do a quick outline, maybe write a script or two about things I want to say, and then kind of just sit down and record it. And especially for like YouTube videos where I'm not traveling, I just go have a good time, absorb the things that I am interested in, record it, take all the photos and stuff, and then just kind of come back and start putting it together. What keeps you motivated? Not internet clout, I'll tell you that, because if it was that, I would have stopped a long time ago. I've been in this like creative space for such a long time that I can't imagine not doing it. It's also just one of those things I'm always wanting to do. Like if I have a free day, if I sit down, I'm like, all right, today's gonna be the day. I like just play some video games or whatever for a few hours. I'll literally sit there and be like, man, I could be doing something else. Like, this is a waste of my time. I'm not working towards anything I want to be doing. And then 30 minutes go by and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I'll get up and go figure out like what the next YouTube video is going to be, or a hike we can do that weekend to get out of the house and see some new things and take some new photos. So I don't know, I'm just restless with that creative energy, I guess. And sometimes it's not there, and I go through ruts just like everyone else. Like recently I was in a bit of a rut for like months, and I finally broke out of that. So I don't know, man, I'm just human, I lose motivation, I get it back, but I think it all comes back to just really loving this art form, and it being the only thing that, if I have downtime, I want to be spending my energy doing, because I find it very rewarding. And I hope at the end of my life, whenever that is, I can look back and see all the cool things that we saw, and think to myself like, wow, we did a lot of interesting things. Have you thought about publishing a book? I have like imposter syndrome, dude, like big time imposter syndrome. I just feel like no one's gonna care. I feel like no one's gonna wanna buy a copy or have a copy sitting on their coffee table. I just, I enjoy my work for what it is. I have a hard time believing that other people would support that journey, or would genuinely want to have a book. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I'm loving your videos, and your editing style is so unique. Do you see YouTube as something you want to pursue long term, or more of just a fun side thing for now? I want to pursue it long term, I do. I think I've set myself sort of this challenge of doing every 2 weeks for, I don't know how many months, but basically from when I started until like winter time, just to see if there's any traction or anything there. But it is really hard for me to juggle everything I do between like commercial project work and running our business, and also doing YouTube and trying to keep up with Instagram and Threads and whatever else comes up. So I don't know, man. I mean, the bottom line is I do love doing this, and I love, reading your guys' comments and seeing people engaging with stuff that I'm making, and it does add like a layer of reward for me. But it is a ton of effort, and I have to at some point like be an adult and realize like, okay, this isn't going anywhere, or okay, this is like worth the amount of time and effort I'm putting into it. That's taking away from other things I could be doing with my career and or life. So we'll see how it goes. I'm giving it the full effort, so stick with me a little while. If not photography, what other hobby or interest would you be invested in, and why did you ultimately choose photography? A lot of people don't know this, but I went to college and studied and have a degree in music tech. So it's like music production, recording, writing my own music for media. And I pursued that for a while, but through doing it for media and studying film and stuff in college as well, I started to like write more and more and more only for visual media, and then the visual media side of it started taking over my interests, and I started transitioning from writing the music for stuff to just doing the video instead, and kind of being obsessed over how that looked and what that process looked like. So if I wasn't doing this, I would probably just still be doing music. My synth sits back here. I write all of wow, I've learned how to point over there. This is harder than it looks, folks. Over there. But I do my intro songs for all the videos that you see on my channel, like the little intro montages. I write all of that music. It's just like a fun little creative touch to add to the front side of my videos. I haven't written a full piece of music, and I can't tell you how long. I would love to, but I just don't have the time. But yeah, that's what I would be doing. I would be pursuing a career in the music industry, writing for movies or games. Or could you recommend any books for improving your craft in photography/cinematography? I might get a lot of flack for this, but I don't really read photo or photography books or magazines or anything like that, or related to cinematography. I am very much a visual person, or like experiential person. So for me, everything I learn comes from trial and error, comes from like reading manuals about things. If I'm gonna read, that's usually what I'm reading, like very technical manual stuff if I'm confused about something. But really it's just from like going out and shooting a bunch, watching a bunch of stuff, just absorbing as much as you possibly can, and through that, like, you'll just naturally intake and use elements of things that you like and enjoy. All right, finally we have favorite aspect ratio for photos and favorite aspect ratio for videos. For video, my favorite is 2.4 to 1, which I use in all my YouTube videos. It's really common in cinema. Yeah, just love the look, love the aspect ratio. I wish I had an anamorphic lens to actually de-squeeze to that ratio so that it would be authentically that way, but I just shoot with bars in the camera, set to 2.4 to 1, and go from there. For photos, I don't know if I've just been programmed from like Instagram and prints and things, but 4x5 or 8x10 or any multiple of that is my favorite. So yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. For those of you who asked questions, thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next one.